been trying to do a review of this GEPRC Phantom HD for about a month. The weather's just been atrocious where I live. It's either snowy or all kinds of wind, you know, that's gusting up to 25, 30 miles an hour. So it just hasn't been really good for reviewing this quad. I did get it for Christmas and I did get to fly it once, and I'll go ahead and give you my thoughts on this quad and we'll go through the specs. Surprise, surprise, over Christmas, one of my presents was a quad, of course, and it's one that I actually really wanted. It is the GEPRC Phantom HD, which is an upgrade from a very popular analog version, which is just the normal Phantom analog, which has been really one of my go-to freestyle 2.5-inch quads. I really enjoy flying this one. It is very, very smooth. So, you know, I'm actually very happy that I got this for Christmas. So I'll go ahead and quickly go through what you get in the box. Of course, you get the quad itself, and in this package here, you get some battery straps, some extra screws. You do get a battery pad here. You get an Allen key. You get some antenna tubes, which I'm not going to use because I got the plug and play version that I'm just going to be using with my DJI controller. And then you get some extra pads here. I'm going to be using those probably as skid plates for the bottom because I'm going to do a top mount battery setup. And you also get some props, including 4 spares, and then stickers, and then some QR codes to GEPRC website. So pretty complete kit. And next we'll go through the specs. So the Phantom is spec'd at 92 grams. I'm measuring more like 100 grams, but of course I have this Insta360 mount here, so that's probably 5 grams there. And it's showing 100 grams with the battery strap in the Insta360 mount. And then I have these little landing pads here on the arms that it came with. So my all-up weight again is 100 grams. You add a recommended 450 milliamp hour 4S battery. We're looking at 155 grams, and then with an Insta360, we're looking at 173 grams. So it's well below the 250 gram mark. And so it's relatively lightweight. So as far as the frame, it's 125 millimeters motor post to motor post. The frame thickness I was measuring about 2.5 millimeters. The top plate is about 1 millimeter. The flight controller here is the GEPRC 20 amp all-in-one flight controller system with 20 amp ESCs. It's more of a Whoop style type flight controller. And of course, here's the Cadex Nebula. This is the version 2, at least the one I've got. It has a little better you know, video feed than the version 1, and it's obviously is not as good as the Pro version. I might think about swapping that out later to the Pro version. As far as the motors, it's the GER 1105 5000 kV motors. As far as the options you can get on this, you can get a TBS Crossfire. I went ahead, since I have a DJI controller transmitter, I decided not to go with Crossfire, just trying to make it as light as possible. The other thing is nice, it has the XT30 connector, and they have this TPU holder here that holds it in place. And so if you get a battery ejection, it's not going to yank the pigtail off. But pretty simple design, like the original Phantom. So, and then of course it does come with this battery strap, and you get some pads here, like I'd already said. And again, I like it because of its simplicity. It's easy. It looks like it's going to be easy to work on. They did put a low ESR capacitor on the back, So overall, I think the design is elegantly simplistic, and so I give it a thumbs up on that. So next I'll show you my maiden flight. I only got to fly this once because of the inclement weather we've been having, as stated earlier. But I can honestly say this thing flies great for a lightweight HD quad. So I'll go ahead and show you that, and we'll wrap things up with my final thoughts on the GEPRC Phantom HD. So here are my final thoughts on the GEPRC Phantom HD. I think it's definitely a great purchase if you're looking for a 2.5-inch park flyer that's good at both proximity flying and light acro. It's not as nimble as the analog Phantom version, the V1, but I almost like it better now that I flew it on its maiden, just because it does carry a little more momentum when you're throwing it around, doing split S's and power loops and that type of action. It actually carries itself quite well. I also like that. I think it's a perfect combination with this Insta360 combo here. You know, I like the way that you can mount one of these. I'll go ahead and link this file if you have a printer I got off of Thingiverse. I'll link that below. And so yeah, it flies really smooth. As far as the tune, I think it's a real good tune. I think they spend a lot of time on it. I would say that there's a slight little bit of prop wash if you get in your own prop wake, but I think you could probably either tune that out. I'm going to try turning on RPM filtering, and so I'll go ahead and try that, but that's a minor niggle. This again is a fairly lightweight quad, so it's hard to completely tune out all prop wash, but I was going to play around with that a little bit. I went ahead and went with props out in my configuration just because you know, on a whoop you get a little better efficiency by going props out, not so much with these bigger quads. The reason why I go props out is I fly around trees a lot and willows, and this allows it to bounce off instead of getting tangled up so much. So that's the biggest reason why I go with the props out. But yeah, definitely 2 thumbs up on this one. You might ask, okay, how do I think this compares to the Transtech Beetle, which is also another great 2.5-inch quad? They're quite a bit different. The Transtech Beetle's heavier. So the pros of the Transtech is, you know, it has the actual DJI Air unit where you can record directly at 1080p, which is really nice. And of course, it has the DJI camera in it, but it's quite a bit heavier. So this is definitely more nimble. So the pro on the GEPRC is that it's a little more nimble, a little easier to fly proximity with it. The other pro on this is if you're looking for something to carry an Insta360, this one definitely I would recommend. You know, the only niggle I have, again, this is the Nebula, which I knew, V2, which isn't as good as the DJI camera, and I think it's, you know, you can upgrade it to the Pro version. I've never done that before, but I think I'm going to try that to see if it even improves this thing even more. So, you know, between the two, it's kind of a wash. I like them both, but I can definitely say I would highly recommend this one. It's going to be one that I'm going to be flying quite regularly, even just from flying it for a short period of time. I can just tell. And it handled the Insta360 just perfectly. So with that, I will go ahead and sign out, and thanks for watching my channel.